I know from a number of phone calls that I had yesterday that the players are pissed. They do not trust their commissioner, Jay Monahan. I believe that Jay Monahan and his PGA Tour group were backed into a corner. I believe that they knew that a protracted legal fight they didn't have the chops for, they didn't have the money for. They don't also have, the want to have the discovery process to be out there, because I think there are things in the discovery process in a protracted legal fight that would be not only embarrassing, could also put them in a very, very bad financial light. And I think that those are some of the things that Phil Mickelson was talking about when he was intimating that he had information regarding the PGA Tour, the R&A, the USGA, and the PGA Championship, which is separate from the PGA Tour. 4 entities all working, colluding together to somehow stop LIV and its growth. So I kind of understand what happened. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like the fact that it is a sports washing entity. When you go back to last year and you had President Trump say at Bedminster the PGA Tour players should take the money now because there was going to be a merger, he saw it a year ago. And I would just say that there are names that you need to know in regards to the PGA Tour. Well, number one is Jay Monahan. He's the commissioner. He's the hypocrite and leader of the PGA Tour. And everybody feels the same way. After listening to what he said to Jim Nantz at last year's RBC Canadian Open, compared to what he said yesterday, is completely foolish.
Yeah, this guy's total snake, total bull crap. He looks horrible today. He does. He looks horrible.
He does. He looks He looks very foolish, and he even said that yesterday. And I'm not debating that. I think. When you think about the groups that are 9/11 families that are just completely blown away by this, as they were used as a political pawn in a fight between 2 entities, and now this is the end result. If I were a part of one of those family groups, I'd be pissed off too. I'd be so disgusted with USA Golf, PGA Tour Golf, and its leadership that
especially that guy.
Well, it's not just that guy.
Well, I mean, he would sit. I know it's not just him, but
the face. He's the face of PGA Tour, so he's the voice. He's the one that everybody's going to run to, that everybody's going to interview. There are people behind him that are advising him, and it was very interesting that a number of these people, I'm familiar with. I know who they are. I know they're good people in general, but I also realize that they're practical people. And if practical people sit in a room, go out and play golf, have some drinks together, go out to dinner, and do all this clandestine work behind the scenes, they're doing it for a reason. And they're doing it because they sense that they don't have the money for a protracted legal fight. They don't want the embarrassing, discovery process papers being exposed in public. And they want to save their own ass. They want to save their own job. Monahan, who works for the PGA Tour, which is supposedly a non-for-profit right now, makes close to $9 million a year for a non-profit.
How is that possible?
Now the interesting thing is that this new entity that is going to receive an infusion of massive cash from the Saudi Public Investment Fund is going to be a for-profit entity. It is no longer going to be a 501c3, a charity entity, although it will have a charity arm. But overall, the Saudis are smart. They don't want to get involved with the IRS. Someday he'll take you out to Shinnecock or somewhere else.
That would be great.
But he also was the founder of Sandler O'Neill, which lost over 60 people on 9/11. And oddly enough, he was named a policy board member of the PGA Tour in 2023. And, he's a Wall Street guy. He's a financial survivor. He knows, the ins and the outs and the negotiations and the way around things and how to save different companies. And to me, when you talk merger in a lot of ways, especially in this way, where there's one entity that may have the public sentiment on their side, which I do believe that PGA Tour had, because I don't think LIV was going to last much longer. I really don't. I think maybe another 2 to 3 years. They were losing money. They're on the CW, for God's sake. Nobody's watching it.
Yeah.
So I do believe that guys like Ed Hurley and Jim Dunn and maybe a few others that are close to Jay Monahan were looking at this and said, look, man, They're going to invest billions and billions of dollars into the game of golf, and we can spin it as this is great for the game of golf, and we're growing golf worldwide, and you're going to have to take the slings and arrows of looking like a hypocrite. And I think financially we got to be realists here, and we got to take the money and we got to do the partnership, whether I like it or not, the 9/11 families like it or not. It's a practical way of looking at it, and you have somebody who was directly involved. And I was looking at a Golf Digest article about Jimmy Dunn that goes back a couple of years, how he was talking about he would never want to do business with the Saudis. He would, because of the impact of 9/11 and everything else. And his words now look hypocritical.
Well, yeah, of course.
So, but they are practical. I'm just telling you, either the PGA Tour is going to be embarrassed by some sort of financial disclosure or some sort of collusion disclosure or some sort of facts that are in papers of discovery that they did not want to have come public. They did not want to have a prolonged and protracted legal fight because they don't have the money. And they got backed into a corner where the Saudis came in and said, look, we'll be your partners and we'll invest this amount of money. And guess what? All the top end people that are running the PGA Tour get to keep their jobs, get to make even more money. Yeah. And then now it comes down to this. As I wake up this morning, I know the players are pissed. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know the players are pissed. And I know that they don't trust the PGA Tour leadership. And I know they had a meeting at the RBC Canadian Open yesterday. Somehow, some way, they're going to have to make those guys whole that stayed with the PGA Tour, and I don't know how that's going to happen.